I know that the audio works this way. So welcome to Pixelpia. Today's topic is let's talk about podcasts. Oh, this is a little funky here. That's better. So lately I have been very interested in podcasts. I have listened to podcasts for a long time, but during the pandemic, I have a newfound love for podcasts, not only as a listener, but also as a creative outlet. I am right now working on a podcast of my own. It is far from ready to be launched yet, but as you might have seen, I am also working on a series of tutorials about podcasting. So in this series, I am learning a lot, and everything I learn about podcast, I share with you in tutorials. And I hope that if you are interested in podcasts, that you have watched my tutorials. If not, I will leave a link down in the description when this live stream is over if you want to learn more about podcasts. And as I said, I have a newfound interest of podcasting. And as I have done the research, I found this very interesting website with some facts about podcast. This is relatively fresh. It's from April 10th this year. And as you can see, as of May 2021, there are over 2 million podcasts and over 48 million episodes out on the internet. So let's look a little bit at the demographics here for United States. 75% of the US population is familiar with the term podcasting. And 50% are actual podcast fans. 55% or 155 million of the US population has listened to a podcast. And 104 million listens to podcasts at least every month. 68 million listeners weekly. That is a huge market. 51% of the listeners are male and 49% are female. And as you can see, the listeners are in all ages, with a little bit overweight for the younger population, 12 to 34, that's 48%. In Canada, we have less numbers, but 23% listens to podcasts in the last week. A little lower numbers when we come to Australia, and then they go into Italy. Listening habits can be interesting if you are planning to create a podcast. 90% of podcast listening is done at home. 64% listen as they drive. And when it comes to subscribing, an average is that you subscribe to 6 different shows. And on average, you listen to 7 shows per week. 93% listen to all or most of each episode. Hi, Gina Bina. Welcome. I have trouble here with my sound today. I hope you can hear me. So this number, 93% listen to all or most of each episode. That is much, much higher compared to what happens here on YouTube. You can hear me, yeah, but I can't use my sounds today. That's sad. Now you can see me a little bit too. Podcast listening on a computer have went up from 29 to 31%. And 65% of the monthly podcast listeners have been listening for less than 3 years. So we have seen the last 3 years have been a really increase in podcasting. Podcast is a source for advertising, and 81% of podcast listeners pay attention to the podcast ads. So for people that want to advertise, this is a gold mine. If you compare that to how many ignore ads on TV, digital ads, and billboards, podcast has a much higher attention span when it comes to advertising. So that was, hi Adrian. So you're dreamy today. You're always someone new when you pop in. So that was a little bit about statistics for podcasts. As I said in the beginning, I have a newfound love for podcasts. And right now, I am very much listening to real crime podcasts. That's my little secret, my little, what do you say? Not secret. There is a word I am looking for that I can't remember right now. My little dirty secret. That's what I wanted to say. So right now I have several real crime podcasts that I follow. I also follow a couple of podcasters that are YouTubers. Let me see what you're saying here, Adrian. That was my old art handle. Oh, Adrian, and yes, the B. Dirty little secret, yes. So, Adrian, Gina, are you podcast listeners? I think for me it is, I grew up listening to radio very much. And I think that is part of the charm for me with podcast. It reminds me of the old radio theater days. And as I said, I'm not only listening to these real crime podcasts. I listen to some YouTubers. And actually the YouTubers I'm listening to, this is I don't know why, but they do video podcasts, so they have them online too, as in video format. But I prefer to listen to the audio podcast instead of watching it on YouTube. I don't need the visual when it comes to podcast. Gina says, I used to listen to wrestling podcasts, but there are way too many, so not anymore. There are a lot within each niche. So you need to find, for me, I think it's the tone of voice of the people in the podcast, how easy it is to listening to. The same with real crime podcasts. There are so many to choose from, but I have found a couple of podcasts that I really enjoy listening to. And what they have in common, I think, if I try to compare them in my head right now, is that they have a very calm way of speech. They are all male, actually, the ones I'm follow when it comes to real crime, but they have a very calm way of talking about it. And I think that's why I like podcast. Adrian says, I'm not a huge podcast person. It's hard for me to listen. Oh yeah, you have some hearing problems. Audiobooks sometimes. I love the radio when they have shows on the music channels too. Yeah, I used to listen to radio a lot when I was younger. Soothing voices, yeah. I think that is what attracts me mostly to a podcast. But then I'm listening to some humor podcast, and those kinds of podcasts, I really don't need the soothing voice. They can be more upbeat and more like I listen to a couple of stand-up comedian, and they are not the soothing ones. But for example, when I go to bed at night, I like to listening to soothing voice. It's like having someone reading aloud to you, like when you were a little kid and your parents read you a bedtime story. So since you are not avid podcast listener, I will not ask you for your favorite podcast. Has any one of you ever thought about creating your own podcast? As I said, the reason that I'm doing the tutorial series right now is that I am trying to learn and create my own podcast. And as I learn, let me take this off. As I learn, I want to share what I'm learning for others. And I think podcast is a good alternative to YouTube, especially if you don't want to be on camera. It can be a way, if you have a story to tell or if you have an interesting topic but you don't want to make videos, podcast can be a fantastic alternative. It doesn't work for everything, but it works for a lot of things. Oh, Gina, you could do a kitty cat podcast. I mean, just as well as you do your videos, you can be her voice in a podcast as well. They can go hand in hand. There is nothing. And then you can do podcast for younger children. You saw the statistics here. Let me see. The age groups. Let me find it again. Let me first find my little mouse here. There we go. Excuse me. Where did I see the age groups? Here we go. I found it. You see, 48% of all listeners are between 12 and 34. So young teens and kids are listening to podcasts too. So you can even direct it to younger people. I know that Eugene, I have watched my tutorials. Do you think I have covered what you need to know if you want to start a podcast so far? I am doing them in the same tempo as I am learning, and I hope it is satisfying, but I don't know. I actually don't know. Let's see. I'm gonna do a test here again. If you would like to tell me if you can hear me when I switch microphone here. Okay, I know you can hear me now. Hi, Tony. I am so disappointed. Gina, you were here last night when I got everything to work. I could use my sound effects and everything. And today, nothing works. I don't know why. I have no idea why it... Yeah, it worked so fine yesterday. That's how it is when you learn something new. And then... Okay, now I got sidetracked again. As if that ever happens in my live streams. I'm usually on the ball. Can you see my setup here? Oh, that camera needs to be fixed. I'm playing with all my toys here. It was good last night. I'm so disappointed. I spent a long time today setting up the music. Let me see if you can hear it this way. I'm not sure, but let's try. Can you hear it now? In the background? I don't know. No, why doesn't it go out? That is so disappointing. Oops. Okay, that's something I have to work on after the live stream is over. I don't know why. So, Tony, how are you? I see your channel is blowing up. 10K any day now. That's fantastic. Bye, Adrian. That is fantastic, Tony. You really found your niche there by Americans React. I know, but I don't know. I had the same settings, Gina. It's so sad. Why doesn't it work? I have to go back and watch it. I set it as unlisted for now. Yeah, it's decent. You're doing really good. How many videos do you put up every week? I am impressed with what you're doing. Are you making any money, or are you one of those poor? That's none of my business, really. But I know that many reaction channels have problem because they don't get they get claims, copyright claims a lot. 8 to 10 a week? Oh my gosh. And here am I thinking of going down to just one a week and putting some more work into it and the around things like websites and things like that, because I want to do so many things. So I'm thinking of okay, that's good. So you get, how much time do you have to set aside for fighting claims and doing things like that? I'm so curious. I know Danny has the same thing. That's so typical for reaction channels. It's a very common problem. I am gonna talk YouTube next Wednesday. I will not have a live stream because next Wednesday we are going away celebrating my sister's birthday. But the Wednesday after that, let me double check. I think it's, no, the Wednesday after that is You in Focus. The 26th, I have planned to do a night where we talk YouTube, but strictly from a viewer's perspective. I actually am planning a series of YouTube tutorials, not about how to create YouTube videos, but how to be more effective as a viewer. How you, even if you don't create any videos, you never uploaded anything, you never done anything like that, how you can be more effective as a viewer to save up a library of things you like, how you can make your own save to playlist and things like that. Hi, welcome. How are you, Elena? Let me see. Not much time fighting. I get a block. I fight. If need be, I send a fast follow-up, or a few times have gotten released over phone. Okay. Well, I'm glad I'm not in a niche like that. Nobody can. I have gotten a couple of unfair claims on my music I use, but since I pay for Epidemic Sound, I just send them an email and they fix it right away. And it was actually for a short while there. I use Epidemic Sound in all my videos, and for a while I got 3 or 4 videos after each other where I got claims, and I wrote to them every time and they took care of it. And shortly after that, they said to me that they have some external sources that always try to win a claim. Elena, interesting. I just posted my first ever podcast episode on Anchor, and now also available on Spotify. What's the name of it? I will find it right away and share the link for everybody. That's fantastic. What's the name of your podcast? Wow. Anchor. I have a separate playlist for Anchor tutorials, but now this time around I talk more about general topics for creating a podcast, like structure of episodes, structure of the podcast itself. I'm going to do a couple of tutorials about, let me see, gosh, my memory, about what equipment you can use to record and how to editing, how to choose your hosts, how to create podcast art, and what to think about when you create, if you're creating a separate website for your podcast and things like that. Oh, it's my E-Class in Bytes. That sounds, no, not dashboard. Wait. Search. Let me search. I don't want Anchor.fm. Why can't I find a website here? My E-Class in Bytes podcast. Let's see if I can find you. On Anchor. I can't find it. I've considered small ebook on what works and what doesn't. It seems I'm throwing stuff at the wall, but I'm testing and recording data a lot of times. I've learned more in the last 4 months than I have from all guru vids I ever watched. Absolutely, Tony. And have I ever made a tutorial? If you want to make an ebook, we talked ebooks a couple of weeks ago in a live stream, and let me see, designer.io. And of course, they don't have. Right now, they don't have a deal. Normal, yeah, they do. Here, I'm going to share this with you. 1 second. This website, designer.io. Right now, they have a free test for 7 days, then $97 for a year. This is where you can create your ebooks easily. Let me remove that and log in, and then I will share with you how easy it is to do this. Let me share this again. Here I'm logged into my site. Here is the two I have done. It's the whole book and an excerpt. And it's very easy to do. You can import from all kinds of documents, and they have templates to use, and it's real. No, this was the excerpt. Okay, let's go back. We went from podcast to ebooks here, but here you can import from a blog, from Word, from all kinds of stuff. Start from a template. That's what you can pick any template here, and then you can edit it to fit you. Change your cover page, it's a really, really easy website if you want to create ebooks. You can create ebooks on a lot of places, but this is so easy to do and make it function. They're not doing good because I never promote them. I have them up on my Buy Me a Coffee, and that's it, and a couple of other places. But they were just, I actually did them from as you see, they are both from delete that one. Oops. Here they are. These are from 2 of the series I did before as tutorials before I changed my content. One is about professional development, what it is and how you can do. And the other one is about personal development. And They are really... I'm selling them, as I said, on a couple of places, but I never promote them. I am with you there, Tony. That's why I am actually thinking of going down to one video a week so I can have some time to do all these other things. And I'm thinking of moving all these live streams over to Pixelpia Live instead. And on Pixelpia, I will do one tutorial a week. That's it. And then all my live streams on Pixelpia Live. And now when that I have the shorts camera on all my account now, finally, I can do shorts whenever I want. I done one as Twilby just for fun to test the camera, and that was actually fun to do. But I have the shorts on all my accounts now. So that's another thing I can do. Why am I having those on? I don't even... Oh, you saw that Twilby short? Oh, I'm with you there, Elena. I hated that. That was back when I worked as a teacher in Sweden before I moved to the US. I actually didn't drive to work. I took the train, and that was perfect. The train ride was when I could grade all papers and do all that. Gina Bina, what did you send me? Oh, I seen it. I can't even read. I'm sorry. I know you saw it, Gina, but I didn't know that Squirrel saw it. I don't even know how it's doing, my little... I don't think many people have seen it, but let me see. Grumpy Garden. She will probably pop up a little more now and then. Tony's a lurker. Well, aren't we all? That's what I usually do. I usually pop into live streams and mostly listen if it's not a topic that I'm very interested in and have questions about. Oh, look, 8 people have seen it. Let's see if I can share it. No, not that. Stop sharing that and share again. Share audio and share this one. Okay, here we go. Oh. That wasn't very professional. Here we go. What I, the thing is with the shorts camera, and I hope that might eventually change, that I can't use the voice for Twilby. That's why I did it silently. Okay, guys, I know I haven't been an hour yet, but I starting to feel a little tired because I got my second shot today. So now everybody in our family is fully up to date with our shots. We are total of 5 people in the family. We have 1 Mederma, we have 2 Johnson & Johnson, and we have 2 Pfizer. I am on the Pfizer, and my sister-in-law is on her Pfizer. We got our second shot today. I didn't feel anything after the first, and I so far haven't felt anything more than I'm starting to get a little tired. You're on Pfizer too. Which one did you get, Gina? Pfizer too, yeah. That's what I thought. And I remember you were sick for, was it 3 days, yeah? My niece got the Mederma, and she's, talking about being in top form. She's running, she's exercising. She's a doctor here. And she got very tired after her second shot with Mederma. My other sister-in-law, sis, and my brother-in-law, they both got Johnson & Johnson, the one with just 1 shot. Yeah, we knew what you meant. We're not so stingsly about spelling here. I can hardly talk from time to time, so what would I have to say about spelling? That could be Pilsner. Okay, guys. Well, I'm gonna stop for today. I'm gonna end with my normal little comment that whatever you do, never stop learning. Have a good night, everybody.